Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time.
So, what does happen when a child's idea of what's fair just smacks right into the world's injustice? It's a huge question, isn't it? I mean, when that simple black and white logic of a kid runs up against the complicated and, frankly, often illogical rules of adult society, what gives? And maybe more importantly, what can we learn from a crash like that? Well, that exact collision takes us to a very specific time and a very specific place.
This quote, it just paints such a picture, doesn't it? This is the world of Macomb, Alabama, back in the 1930s. You get this feeling of a town that's sleepy, almost timeless, right on the surface. But, and this is a big but, underneath all that slowness, there's this really rigid, unspoken system of rules. It's a social code that absolutely everyone understands, but nobody ever talks about. And this town, well, it's the setting for what is truly one of the most powerful books ever written about how we see things like justice, prejudice, and innocence. Of course, I'm talking about Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, here's what makes this story so incredibly powerful. We don't see this world as adults, people who've already bought into all its strange logic. No, we see it through the fresh, super inquisitive eyes of a 6-year-old girl, Scout Finch. And the thing about Scout is she hasn't learned to just ignore all the contradictions yet. So her journey, it really becomes our own. All right, so Scout's first real education, it doesn't happen in a classroom. Not at all. It's all about her learning to see these invisible lines that slice right through her town. Lines that make absolutely zero logical sense, but somehow they have the force of law. Okay, get this. On her very first day of school, Scout runs into kids from 2 very different families, a Cunningham and a Newell. Now, the Cunninghams, they are dirt poor, but they're respected because they live by this code of honor. They don't take what they can't pay back. Then you have the Ewells, also poor, but everyone considers them trash because they live completely outside of any rules or code. So you see, it's a system based on reputation and honor, not on how much money you have. So, what happens when Scout, in all her 6-year-old wisdom, tries to explain this super complex social system to her new teacher, who is a total outsider? You guessed it, she gets punished for it. It's this perfect example of the formal system, the school, crashing head-on with the informal, but way more powerful, system of the town. And look, this breakdown of systems, it's not just about, unspoken social rules. It goes way deeper than that. It actually reaches into the town's most important formal institutions, the very places that are supposed to provide enlightenment and justice, and shows us that, yeah, they're fundamentally broken too. Think about this for a second. In Maycomb's school, knowing how to read before you're supposed to is basically a crime. Scout's natural curiosity and the fact that she's ahead, it's seen as a problem that needs to be fixed. The system isn't about fostering intelligence at all. It's about forcing everyone to be the same. It literally punishes a student for being too smart, too fast. But honestly, this school's failure is just a warm-up act for the total, catastrophic failure of the legal system. Because when Scout's father, Atticus, gets assigned to defend Tom Robinson, a black man who has been falsely accused, he's not just defending one person. He is putting the town's most deeply ingrained and, frankly, its ugliest core belief on trial. And right here, this is the crucial point. Atticus puts his finger directly on the bug in the system. See, a court is supposed to run on things like evidence and law, right? But in Macomb, it runs on this evil assumption. And when a system's core programming is just pure prejudice, it can't produce justice. It's impossible. It can only spit out a verdict that confirms its own bias. Okay, so to really help us grasp the moral stakes here, what's really at risk with this kind of system failure? The book gives us this incredibly powerful central metaphor. Atticus tells his kids it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. Why? Because they're creatures of pure innocence. They don't tear up your garden, they don't cause any trouble. All they do is make music for us to enjoy. And in this story, people like Tom Robinson and the mysterious neighbor Boo Radley, they're the mockingbirds. Harmless, vulnerable, and for some reason they become targets for the world's cruelty. And this, right here, this is the central crisis in perception the book is all about. See, prejudice isn't just having a bad opinion. The book shows us it's like looking at the world through a warped, distorted lens. It completely twists reality, making you see a threat where there is absolutely nothing but an innocent mockingbird.
So really, the entire story is about Scout's journey of learning how to take off that distorted lens and finally see the world and the people in it with a totally new kind of clarity. And this is the moment it all comes together. It's really beautiful. After being saved by her reclusive neighbor, Boo Radley, the one she was terrified of, Scout stands on his porch and looks out at her own street. And for the very first time, she sees the world from his perspective. It's this literal, physical act that stands for a massive internal shift towards empathy. She can finally see him not as some monster, but just as a person. And that's really the ultimate lesson here. Atticus tells her most people are good when you finally see them. That little word, finally, is doing so much work. It implies that really, truly seeing someone isn't easy. It takes effort, it takes courage, and it takes that willingness to step out of your own shoes and stand on someone else's porch for a minute. So, in the end, To Kill a Mockingbird is so much more than just a story. It's almost like a blueprint. It shows us, step by step, how communities build these systems, social, educational, legal, that are designed to reinforce prejudice. And it reveals that maybe the most courageous act of all is the simple yet profound choice to just truly see another person. For the full, long-form, deep dive into this book and its ideas, follow the link in the description. If you enjoy these explainers, please subscribe and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.